got the eye of the tiger. There's no way that I can win. Just as long as I keep trying. No such thing as the limit. I'm out here shining
24/7.
I stay grinding
24/7.
I'm out here shining
24/7.
I stay grinding
24/7.
Yeah, so we can go from
Look in the mirror, who is
Let's just
staring
go.
back at me.
We want to welcome everybody along to the Growth Over Comfort podcast. We've got a few friends together who are willing to step outside of that comfort zone, and we're bringing to you a podcast that's based a little bit around Shaq Daddy's music.
Shaq Daddy's music, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But it's just Shaq, SHAKK, just in case you get confused and end up on some wrong, dodgy website that offers you sexual appliances.
Oh no. Shaq, I've got to ask about the question. You know, Liquid Water, the first sort of song that you've released,
Yeah.
the first freestyle that you've released. Anyway,
Yeah.
Wow, what, are you trying to send out a message in that song? Is there something about that song special to you that you're trying to tell everybody?
Do you know what? Sometimes when you look back on lyrics, you kind of like, you realise subconsciously you've wrote down stuff in there, and it's like you might have wrote it for you so you can read it at a later date. I don't know. There's been times where I've looked back at lyrics and I thought, oh really, is that how I felt there? Or I've almost like preempted the future, like my future. Maybe like it's like. So yeah, but I don't know what type of message I'm putting across in that aspect, but I do know I'm just trying to send the message that consciously, as a collective, we're becoming a lot more aware about certain situations that are going on around the world, and that was like just giving you a little taster of a few different things. So it wasn't really sticking on one topic during that song. It was just giving you a little taster of a few different concepts, a few different events that have occurred recently and whatnot.
Yeah, you talk a lot about almost time travel, I guess. You're saying like transporting dimensions, multi-dimensional, and you even bring up sort of words such as tesseracts. And I remember when me and Chrissy came around your house that time, and you started talking about tesseracts, and I was just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
It's complex.
I don't understand where do you get this knowledge from? Do you read? What is it? That's sort of where do you get this foundational knowledge from that you bring through in your songs?
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of it comes from reading, but when we talk about stuff like tesseracts and stuff, I mean, I'm nowhere near knowledgeable enough to go into depth with these things.
I think it was a Carl Sagan video that you played, wasn't it?
That's exactly it. Yeah. Carl Sagan, Neil deGrasse Tyson. These people, I'm getting my information from them when it comes to things about the cosmos, let's say, and stuff about the universe, because. I'm just not that advanced at it yet, but it's something that I'm really interested in. I'm learning a lot about it as we.
I see where you come. Me myself, when it comes to reading, I don't. It's weird actually. I don't always think it's just a form of gaining knowledge, or sometimes I think it's just nice to sit there and take distractions out of your life, take the phone away from yourself, take the television away from yourself, and just actually endorse yourself in a book that you find interesting. I think a lot of us are losing connection with books and stuff. And for me personally, I mean, I probably didn't read for the first 25 years of my life. So now to bring reading into my life, it's a bit of a challenge. It's like I'm breaking the lifelong sort of. I don't know. Something's been missing all of my life, I guess, and I guess this could be part of one of those things that I'm missing. Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm trying to bring it in my life. It's sometimes quite difficult to actually sit down and read for half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, because I can see my mind wandering. Yeah. But the more that I do it, the more that I pick up words, the more that I'm gaining knowledge. Yeah. It's nice. You like I said, I'm not always doing it just to gain the knowledge of this book. Sometimes I'm doing it just to take the distractions out of my life. Yeah. Especially with the way that we're going with phones in this day and age. I think everybody's just glued to them constantly.
Yeah, it's a great point. Everyone is glued to them, and another. I mean, you got your positives obviously with smartphones and whatever. At no point in our history were we able to contact people so easily at the touch of a button. The way we communicate's completely changed over the last 20 years, let's say, or whatever. But also the issue that we've got here with these smartphones is that we're getting information thrown at us, and it's just hit a point now where you're scrolling through social media, scrolling through whatever on your internet, blah, 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 this news channel, that news channel, and you're getting force-fed fake information constantly, and you don't choose what you're taking in. So it is important that we remember to read and things like that, because you choose what information you take in at that point.
Yeah, you have to go out there, you have to pick the book, you have to put some knowledge into just
Yeah.
finding what book you want to read to start with, and then you actually have to go through the effort of reading something that you've had a desired interest in,
Yeah.
something that you want to gain knowledge on. There's always a purpose towards picking up a book. There's never always there's not always a purpose to turn on the television.
Yeah.
Quite often we just sit there and watch junk. That's why me personally, I've stripped the television out of my life. I don't feel like I need that in there no more. So I basically only watch stuff on YouTube and Netflix, and it's all through my selection. So when I am sort of gaining information from the television screen, it's through my own selection again. I'm not getting force-fed something that I don't necessarily believe in.
I'm very similar. Use the same things. Like just try my best. But wait there. Are we really choosing what we watch on YouTube these days? Oh. Because you get so deep, and then YouTube gets clever, and it starts suggesting things that you also do actually want to watch. So once you watch enough Carl Sagan videos
You
and Neil
enter
deGrasse
the rabbit
Tyson,
hole.
you're going to get so much about the cosmos. And because someone like me at times not as educated, I could end up watching something.
Yeah.
But as you mature and as you take in more information, you become better at cross-checking information.
Yes.
You start validating sources. You don't just watch a YouTube video and think, oh, I've learned something. And you want to really go away, take that information and cross-check it, find references, whatnot, and make sure you've got the right information. But
I think that's something I used to struggle with considerably. I used to always sort of, if I was reading, especially when I first started reading again, I'd pick up a book and I'd not necessarily understand a certain word or the way that a certain sentence was scripted, and my ego would instantly take control, and I'd be sat there thinking, I'm not gonna Google that word. I should know what that means. Why does my ego take control over me actually gaining knowledge? It's as though I have this divine right to instantly understand what I'm reading. I should really take myself away, put myself into the books again, and understand what I'm actually reading, and not let that ego take charge of you.
I'm glad you brought ego up, because it's massive, isn't it? It's like it's one of our biggest barriers, because what we find now, what we tend to see is we're all know-it-alls, but really as humans we're ridiculously flawed people. We're ridiculously flawed. I mean, right now there'll be people listening to this thinking, oh, we know better than them, we know this. But really, we're not here claiming that we know better. We're here just to open up and be ourselves and to be judged, because nobody's ever going to live that perfect life and be that person that they imagine themselves to be in their head. But you come to a point where you just need to accept that people for who they are and become part of that journey, and let's all just help each other build without these egos, so we can all help and grow. Without
the egos, and also without the judgment from others. I think everybody lives in fear of judgment. Everybody's so scared of what one person could think towards them for making a certain action or for saying a certain sentence. They're kind of scared to really open up about who they truly are. They can't really be authentic to themselves because they're so obsessed in what other people think about them. And again, that goes back to phones and social media. You're constantly comparing yourself to others.
So that's interesting. So do you think social media actually delays the maturation process for children, not children, like teenagers and stuff? Do you think if we lived in a time without social media, going out there and getting more life experiences directly would create you to be? But social media, maybe
it's slowing down maturity.
Yeah, so people stop being able to process their own emotions because they're told how to think, they're told how to feel. And you don't have enough time to reflect on your own actual feelings.
And maybe it's controlling their emotions in the sense of sending them down a bad route, because I think depression's never been higher in Western countries. And that's all through, it aligns with the rise of social media.
Yeah.
So maybe they're really controlling what you feel. Maybe they bring you down so you can't sort of excel in life. Maybe them beating you down so much is just holding you back from your creativity, I guess.
It's such a clever way to control people, because, and it's control's such a strong word, and I don't mean to sound so strong, but this is the downside to technology. It's a good way to control people, and I forgot where I was going with that one actually.
Sometimes we do that, Jack.
But yeah, people just need to realise that you need to get out there and live a bit more. You need to be able to process your own emotions, and that comes with maturity. So you need to to let go of that ego, to be able to process your emotions, to realise how often you've actually been in the wrong in situations.
Yeah, it's a big thing to actually bow, especially for a man. For
Yeah.
a man to turn around and say, I'm wrong, it's a big thing.
Well, it's a man these days, so the classic man would be that the man would be the person that, with the toothpick in his mouth,
Yeah.
or maybe smoking a cigarette, blocking out his emotions, being tough.
Yeah.
But really, in this modern
He
day
doesn't
and age,
cry.
exactly, doesn't cry. In this day and age, we now know that man is actually the broken man. The real
yes,
man is
yes.
a warm man, comfortable with his flaws, comfortable with his mistakes, able to put them things right.
Yeah.
And that's actually the real man. Someone that's tough on the exterior, doesn't want to process their emotions. That's actually showing sides of someone that is weak.
Yeah, that's weakness right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you will find the odd person within that group who is genuinely strong and they can show their emotional side as well.
Yeah.
So we are creating a stereotype, don't get me wrong, but at the same time,
Yeah. With
I
everything,
think us
there'll be a minority.
men in general are just so closed. They can't just open up about the most simple thing, and they can never accept when they're wrong. We can't just turn around and be like, "What? Sorry, I hold my hands up," and it's as though your ego takes control, and you won't let yourself do that.
I mean, we've been there before. I mean, to get to a point where you start being able to pick up on your mistakes, it takes a lot of uncomfortable moments, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
To be able to be big enough to have some respect for yourself, and you just say to yourself, I can't go on being fake to myself, because we see many people, they've got this directionless anxiety, and that's because they haven't processed those emotions. They don't
Bury them.
Yeah, in their head, they've got an image, in their own heads, they've got an image of themselves, but in reality, they're not acting that image out, and that's what gives you the anxiety, but they're not mature enough, or they haven't built up those skills to process their emotions enough to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, it's emotional intelligence, I guess, to one level, isn't it?
Oh yeah, emotional intelligence.
I mean, you say this within your song. There's no such thing as superheroes. Power's not with one man. So it's basically saying there, like, you can't do things on your own. It's better to open up about things. Better open up about to your family. It's better to open up to your friends, because you aren't going to be a superhero. So power isn't with one man. You need to spread that. You need to share it. You need to get out there and sort of express your love to others and express your emotions to others.
It's a big thing, yeah. We're living in such a high pressured environment where people are just scared to be themselves, and I've been there. I'm still. We have to be honest. Sorry. Enter some situations, some public scenarios or whatever, and I feel like the act comes on.
Yeah.
Not like an act as in like, oh, look at me. I mean like as an act like I'm watching what I'm saying. I'm very careful about my body language.
Do you think that we kind of put an act into the world constantly? Do you think that like you as a person, whenever you enter a social situation, do you think you're just putting an act onto the world? I mean,
What kind of worms you're opening?
Yeah, it's a can of worms. I know.
We're all an act.
We are all an act. I mean,
we're all an act.
It's a lifelong question. Like,
It is an act.
Who is Joel McGlynn?
Are you ever just one type of person? You're constantly changing from day to day. 1 minute you're this, the next minute you're that. To say we're just one thing, to say we're an angry person, a happy person, is wrong, because we're always changing, evolving, and I feel like even right now, to some extent, it's probably an act.
It is an act, and that's, I think, for me especially, this absolutely is an act, because that's the whole point in the name of the podcast, Growth Over Comfort. I'm trying my hardest to grow constantly by putting myself out of the comfort zone, because you can't grow in the comfort zone. You can't grow when you're not living in fear. Right now, there's no doubt in the back of my mind, I am in fear of judgment. I am scared of what other people are thinking of me right now, but in reality, why? The people are going to judge me no matter what I do, so I may as well do what I want to do.
Well, look at this now, Joel. I mean, we didn't touch on it at the beginning of the podcast, but what are we doing right now?
Yeah,
we've been talking about this for months, months on end. We started it with just a conversation. Actually, it's when me and you just started talking again.
Yeah,
maybe like beginning of the.
It was the end. It was December. It was December last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just before Christmas. Because then you,
fast.
that came really fast. You came around my flat just before Christmas.
And no, you come around mine first.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I remember you coming around my flat just before Christmas. So in turn, that means we met.
Oh yeah, for New Year's and stuff.
Yeah, back together in December
as well.
Yeah,
and it started out. So I was on my own journey. Joe was on his own journey, and we ended up crossing paths again recently.
Yeah,
and through conversation, we found out we've both been thinking about podcasts and this, that, and the other.
It's so strange. The way I've put this across to myself is it's so strange for two people to have such a different sort of past 10 years.
Yeah.
The last 10 years of my life are literally polar opposites to the last 10 years
Yeah,
of your
absolutely.
life. But yet right now we are so similar as individuals.
Yeah.
We're so individual at the same time. We're so different, but in very broad aspects of our life, we are very similar.
Oh, that's a good one. We've led completely. The last 10 years has been completely different for both
couldn't
of us.
be.
But
Well,
we've learned similar life lessons through completely different
Yeah,
experiences.
this could draw people in. I mean, for the future, this is something we're going to talk about in the future. Is in like the path that you've took in the last 10 years. I can talk about the path that I've
'cause
taken in the last.
let's
10
not
years.
lie, Joel. You are very interesting, and you're so humble about it all. And really, you know what I mean. You've been through a lot, and you've come out on top. And you say you're going to do something and you do it, and that's the reason why we're sat in this room right now. It's just such a big achievement just to be doing this after being. We even had times where we were in my living room.
Yeah.
We didn't have a camera, a microphone. The camera would be sellotaped
To the TV.
to the TV. My iPhone would be sellotaped to the TV. So we could just video this podcast,
yeah.
and we didn't know what we were going to do with it. We just wanted to practice. It was just deep down we knew that it's something we're going to work on, and this is the first episode, and we've just touched on a few things
that are very close to us personally. I think we've talked about these things that we're talking about right now, or the last however many minutes. It's something that we touched upon for the last 6 months constantly.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we could sit here and try and give everyone a false image of us. We could easily do that, or we could be them type of guys that don't want to open up. We wouldn't. But at the end of the day, if we do that, nobody's going to gain anything from this experience, and we want to gain as much out of this podcast.
Yeah.
We want to gain as much as we give, because we want to open up, and through our flaws and our experiences, hopefully the people listening will be able to relate, and they'll know they're not alone on this journey. We're all going through these same things. We all have our ups and our downs, our high moments and low moments, but the thing is, we're all flawed. Everyone's vulnerable, and we're just looking forward to
Amen, brother.
Yeah, preach.
And I think that calls for a song. Let's stick Liquid Water in it.
Liquid water.
Yeah, Liquid Water. Let's go.
I'm liquid water with the power to transform. Ice shattering, still you sweat on the dance floor. I'm palm pushing, opening doors and platforms, handsaw. I pull the last straw, it's that raw. Even a white lie could come from black thoughts. I rap like Tarek Trotter mixed with mass force. Fast forward deep in time, what's the past brought? Transporting dimensions, no passports. I plan for revenge attacks and vendettas. I'm trained to kill a rapper with 11 letters. Slap a man backwards here and panty, thought I'd never get him. With 7 methods, it's never ending. My pen pressures, pretend measures, false flags, corporate scandals. You can see the truth from these awkward angles. That's why our beef is irrelevant. I feel benevolent, send a message, the war is cancelled, the war is handled. The revolution's just begun, shooting from a rusty gun. Viva la revolution of my dry lips and dusty tongue. You must be dumb to trust the scum. See me walking out fires like it's nothing, bruv. It's a demolition derby cross with a rat race. Creating scars too deep for a band-aid. £1 trillion campaigns, tax dodgers with fat cases. I seen a person lose his soul through a handshake. Backache from carrying dead weight. World on my bloody shoulders, we enter the end games. In the centre my pen pages of lyrics I spent days just to finish and devastating, diminish your set plays. If you're willing, then explain how the bond snapped. Exchange of words turns to engage in combat. There's mass genocide, it was never God's plan. There's no such thing as superheroes, power's not with one man. I shoot electric, call it Tesla baiting. I bury DNA, see like I'm excavating. I'll stop this pest invasion, rock and sock the next to make it. Watch me drop the best of thinking, nothing pops, the rest are basic. Ha! I'm bringing snow to gunfights. If that's your girl, she wants to blow on some good pipe. She wants that passion in the bed, that bloody love type. We keep the lights on, she wants to look as I fuck right. I blame that on the T-side in me, never rewind. Why? Cause the B-side's empty, I've got page books lengthy. I'm the modern day Rumi with that Persian blood, the same crooks get beat. This is multi-dimensional methods of slaying the 64. See my future lyrics through tesseracts, deep to 60 floors. See my past present as one, a shifting course. Every word that hits the body makes the kidneys fall. Ha ha, when you rap I hear that goo gaga, blah blah. I'm the man you call the voodoo dada. Rappers need nappies when I spit, they make a people blatter. Fear said I'm strong, they compare me to the Zulu Shaka. No person on this planet is invincible. Submersion damage of all these manners and principles. I see them panic, it's Titanic, collapsing critical manic upon deck. Have you had it just cause it's difficult? The struggle for the power's everlasting. Apache helicopters, tanks, men are blasting. The smell of flesh lingers in the air, lead and plastic. Metal, dust, concrete, chemicals, it gets drastic. So tell me, why should I listen to politicians? Sponsored by corporations that bomb the children. Horrid visions that make me think what tomorrow's bringing. If I die, make sure everybody has a bottle singing. La-dee-da-dee, la-dee-da-dee.
I'm sort of ready whenever you put your phone down again.
I'm ready.
As always, we've finished the song and Shaq's still on his phone.
No, it's down.
Shaq, I think you're addicted to it, mate.
I'm not addicted.
I think you need to
It's got a
put that
purpose.
phone down.
It's got a purpose. Okay,
It's got a purpose, but it's not got a purpose at this moment in time.
I've just released my EP.
Here, I've got a question for you and anybody listening.
Yeah.
Are you the type of person that goes out for a meal and leaves a phone on the table?
Oh, I guess I am, yeah.
Put
I'm
your phone.
conscious of it, though. I'm conscious of it.
Well, if you're conscious
I know
of it,
what
put
I'm
it away.
doing. And I it's not like I'm on my phone. But recently, I've just needed my phone a lot more.
Here, I found a phrase off the internet. It says, the conventional wisdom is that we choose friends because of who they are. But it turns out that we actually love them because they support who we are. So in essence, you don't love them for who they are. You love them because they love you for being yourself.
Yeah.
I don't love you when you're on your phone. So maybe that's bullshit.
You know what? You're right. It's just today's been a big day for me.
It is a big day. Yeah, it's a huge day, and it's big. It's pivotal in your sort of progression.
Yeah, it's going to be pre-recorded this, so the people might be a bit freaked out now actually because they'll be like, "What's happened today?"
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's actually not today.
It's a launch day today.
We're coming from the past, so things might have changed. Me and Joe might have fell out at this point.
We are transporting dimensions.
Me and Joe might not be friends at this point.
We're in the fourth dimension right now. Maybe, yeah.
Joe could have split off to do his own podcast.
Yeah, well, what can I say? Yeah. I love myself for who I am. I don't love you for who you are.
No, I'm only joking. But where are we going there? I just started getting carried away.
I was telling you I don't love you for being on your phone, basically.
You're right. Recently, I've just had to use my social media so much more because...
Yeah.
And that's another downside to what I'm doing is like a curse at the same time because I have to spend time on social media and I have to post things and sometimes it feels really egotistical and I don't like that, but
Yeah.
at the same time, how do I actually do this without being too... I'm posting about myself, about my music. It's hard to not sometimes do it in
I think your ego has to take over within reason, but is that not just pride? I know what... I am so self-aware these days when I make a post on Instagram. I take a step back and I'm like, am I doing this for my ego? Seriously. I think sometimes I actually am. Sometimes I'm doing it for my ego. A lot of the time I am doing it out of pride. I mean, for the first time in... maybe the first time in my life I put a picture up of me the other day and I was topless and I actually took a step back and I was like, that could look very egotistical, but it's not. I've been training like every single morning. I'm up early, I'm meditating, I'm doing yoga, I'm then doing press ups and pull ups. I'm training in the night, whether it's on the bike, whether it's hiking, whether it's running. I'm always out there doing something. So actually when I thought about that picture there, it's more just pride. I am proud of the shape that I'm in right now because it's a lot of hard work and commitment that's gone into it. And I think with you, when it comes to creating posts on Facebook and Instagram, you shouldn't look at it from the ego point of view. You should look at it as pride because you put so much hard work and passion into this music that you've earned everything that's come your way today.
Yeah.
Like, this is the reason why you're in this position right now. The reason why you have to make posts is because you've put so much dedication and sort of commitment into it. You should take a step back and post something on Instagram or Facebook with absolute pride and not question what you're doing, not questioning what people might be thinking, just taking a step back and just saying, you know what, I can put my feet up here, I can make a post where I'm proud about myself.
Yeah, I feel like I'm good at this switching this on and off between. I know how to act in different ways. I guess I know how to be that cocky person, or I know how to be that humble person. Like I know how to switch it on to be the cocky person that probably people might want to see at certain times. Do you think that's... in what I do anyway? Because in what I do, it's you know what. The worst part about it is a lot of it is egotistical. There's a lot of dick slinging.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've experienced a lot of dick slinging in my life. Yeah, a lot of dick slinging.
You might want to give him some context behind that.
It's basically when somebody tries to outdo the other. That's all it is. And
we'll touch upon it later, but Joe's actually a former Marine.
Oh, we're already bringing that in, are we?
We might as well, but there's obviously going to be some interesting stories to hear about.
Well, we got plenty of time. I think we've got plenty of podcasts coming up. We can talk about all this in the future.
Hopefully, the next one we should maybe just touch up more new because
more on dick slinging.
Yeah, your dick slinging history.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, in the armed forces, there's a lot of dick slinging, isn't it? Because there's a lot of alpha males in there. Everyone wants to be the best at what they do. It's like elite fitness and so on and so on. So we all know when it comes to those type of things, they do need a level of confidence, maybe like a level of arrogance, because you need to be confident in what you do as well. And if you're not, you're in the wrong. You're in the wrong.
In a weird way, you get the swagger. You know what I mean? You
When are you? How come you didn't develop that?
I'm somebody who's battered my ego.
Yeah. No. You know what? It's good that we can joke about it.
It's good that we can joke about. I feel like we've came so far on this journey. I mean, we could talk about that incident that we had on Facebook. We had an incident.
Are we talking about that now?
Yeah, we'll talk about that now. For two people who came such different paths to be in the situation that we're in right now, I think we should both take pride in that as well.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
How long ago was this incident? We talked a lot about social media for two people who were, well, for me personally, who was so much against it.
But you know what? It's relevant. So it's important that we do, because we're talking about it because we experience it every day and we can see the impact it has. It's such an important part of day-to-day life now. I say important, but it is a big part of life, because whether we like it or not, because this is one of the biggest ways we communicate.
Yeah, it is. So many people communicate just through Facebook these days. I keep in touch with a lot of friends from the past just through social media that I don't have their numbers, but I can actually see what they're doing in day-to-day life. Yeah. But I might take yourself back just 10 years to when we had that argument. There you go. I've brought it back up, so I must want to talk about it.
I try to get away from it.
You try to get away, and I've steered it back on track. I've got you back on track. Well, so we had the disagreement, didn't we, Shaq?
It was in 2010.
2010. So you're looking at 8 years ago. So the path that we've been on for the past 8 years has been incredibly different, but it's brought us both to this very moment in time right here.
So it was approximately 8 years ago. I was living in London. I must have been about, I don't know, I was in college in London doing a music course, and Joel was at this point. Joel,
I was. I think I just passed out of the Royal Marines at this time, so I was.
Did you tour Afghanistan?
No, I was.
Are you sure?
Not by this time. No,
It might have been 2011.
No, 2011. I messaged you on Facebook when I was in Afghanistan.
Well, you messaged me.
Yeah, I remember sending you the message, and
personal one.
Yeah, personal message, and I was trying to convince myself of the reasons why I was out there.
Whoa, I can't remember the personal message.
I'll see if I can pull it up.
Does that exist?
Yeah, it definitely exists. I remember doing it. I
feel like I need to see this.
No, let's not do this now. We can pull this up and bring it up in the future.
But you let us know about like where you were at that point.
At this point in time in 2009 when we had the disagreement.
I think it was 2011 or 10.
No, it wasn't, Shaq. It was 2009, maybe 10. And I think, did you put a post up about some sort of music, some sort of rap or something like that?
Yeah.
And I, being in my state of mind at that time, obviously I was an adolescent and very full of testosterone and very full of aggression, which I'm only just touching upon this now. Wait there, Shaq, I'll carry on this. And I was going through this sort of stage where I believed I was right and everything, my views on the world were sort of the only way of thinking. And when you put a post of some sort of, I must have been a rapper or something like that, I had the ridiculous audacity to comment saying you should be listening to British music. How sad.
Yeah. And it got deep. Do you know what? There was a comment in there though, and I think from the comment you might have been a bit further on in your Marines experience, because you went a bit deep, and it wasn't from a perspective of someone that's just passed out.
I can't. We'll bring it up. We'll pull it up.
But I've just looked at some messages in my inbox and they're from 2011.
Yeah, see, I think that was when I was in. I can't remember.
It was like back in the 2011, but anyway.
Do you think
we argued? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were telling me to listen to more British music.
I know it's so sad. It's an embarrassing moment in my life. But when I'm
embarrassed as well.
I like to look at my life right now, and I've said this word pride so many times, but I'm proud of who I am now. So I am letting the past shape my future by learning from my actions. I think, exactly. And in essence, you should let the past shape your future if you're willing to learn from your lessons.
It's happened for a reason, yeah. It's all. I remember, like, you said to listen to British music, and I think I said, "Oh, what do you think? What do you want me to do? Listen to the Kooks?" And then for some reason I said, "But you know what? What's weird about my response there?"
What?
I defended myself, but I actually did listen. I did actually listen to the Kooks.
They were quite
And
bouncy.
I swear to God, I loved it. Is it the first album? I fucking loved it.
Is it Inside?
I loved it,
Inside
mate.
Out?
And I kind of I threw myself away from
Yeah.
to completely defend where I was coming from.
Yeah,
I kind of
yeah,
made
yeah.
it out that I was completely didn't listen to that. I used the example of a band that I actually listened to. So it's all fucking. It was all a bit embarrassing
It's all
for me.
over the place, isn't it?
But you know what? We have these embarrassing situations. Like I can think of so many little arguments. You have to have these moments to realise, either you're a dick,
yeah.
which in many cases in my life I was the dick.
yeah.
All right, I say in many, but I've realised a lot of times I was the dick, or you realise someone else is the dick, and you need to cut them. You need to cut them off.
Yeah.
You need to cut them away because at the end of the day, they were gonna rub off on you, aren't you? We touched on this earlier.
Yeah, I think friendship. It's one of the most important. Relationships in general are just one of the most biggest motivating factors of your life.
Yeah.
If you can get relationships nailed down within your family, within your friends, within a loved one, if you can nail them down, then everything else can sort of fall into place. And I know me personally, I view our group of friends so highly because they can make me grow so much. Like when I look at you, you the only reason I believe in myself now is because of you.
Oh, fuck.
And there's absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. You just tell them. I've never ever in my life thought of me as an interesting person until you put that point across. And I still don't view myself as an interesting person. But just you telling me that has been enough for me to really believe in myself and what I'm talking about. So I'm now willing to sit behind a microphone and actually put my point across and have confidence in what I'm saying, and I believe in the knowledge that I've got. I'm not saying that everything I say is right. A lot of it is just my opinion, but I'm sure in my own opinion that I'm happy to tell other people what it is, and they don't have to go. They don't have to buy into it. They don't have to buy into meditation. They don't have to buy into yoga. They don't have to buy into health and fitness. All I'm asking for is them to respect my opinion. And people like you that have came into my life, you've just made me believe myself so much that I can really take a step back from being scared of being judged, living in fear of being judged, and I can be fully free to express who I am.
Yeah. No, you know what? It's funny that you say that because it must have been about 6 months ago before I started the music. I showed you a few of the early stuff,
Yeah,
and I was
freestyles.
Yeah, and then I didn't up until that point. My music never went as far as my girlfriend or one of my best pals from who raps as well.
Yeah.
And then I was in that environment where we were just speaking again. There was you, Chrissy, who's going to probably be for the next one, hopefully.
Yes.
And Downing and Ebo was there.
Yeah.
And actually, the first time it was just a few of us. Not Ebo wasn't there the first time, but I'd done them, and he's made me feel absolutely amazing. And I feel like I lost so much confidence. And you gave me that. I've been doing this for so long. There's a reason why I've only just brought music out, and that's because the friendship group that entered my life just 6 months ago or whatever, it just completely altered. It just changed everything.
Yeah,
It's just changed everything for me.
It's almost changed your reality, hasn't it? Oh man, if there wasn't a glass window now, I'd give you a hug.
Yeah. But it's nice to know that the feelings are mutual because you know what? You normally have your best friends from when you're younger. You don't normally make best friends in your 20s, in your 30s. You don't make best friends in these time periods, but for that to happen now just shows
It's inspirational. I take so much motivation from the commitment that you put into your work.
Thanks.
For when I sit back and watch you do, it gives me so much drive for everything that I want to achieve in my life. I just feel like, you know what, I can't take my foot off the gas. I'm only this age once. I need to take this age and utilise it. I need to keep progressing in life. I want to move forward. I want to be on to the next thing. I want to develop myself continuously.
Yeah. And that's what this is all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to listen back. We're going to do another podcast and another one, and we're going to grow. And by podcast 100, who knows?
Who knows?
We might
Who knows? So where are we next then, Shaq?
Where are we next?
I was going to say where are we next, but this is in the future. We're still transporting dimensions.
This point, I feel like when... I forgot what I was going to say, but by the time this comes out, I hope we're in... we will be in a position where we can do this a lot more frequently, and they're going to be a lot better. Hopefully for the first podcast, this seems like it wasn't quite bad.
This was pretty good. I'm happy with the way that it's went. There's nerves, but with growth over comfort.
It's the first time we've ever done anything like this before. We're in the actual studio. We're taking it seriously, and we really want to give good content. So we're going to build, we're going to study, we're going to research, we want to know what you think,
Yeah.
what you want us to talk about,
Yeah.
because we're open to talk about absolutely anything. We don't fear any judgment.
Nope.
And we're here to be judged. If you want to judge us.
Yeah.
Because we've come to a point where it's growth over comfort.
Absolutely. I'm fully with you. And I think the next podcast, what song we're going to do in the next podcast, I think we're going to aim for, I don't know, let's make it up at the time.
We don't have to do a song either.
Yeah, it's going to be about the music as well. I think it brings in a lot of relevant points. It talks about the future, it talks about the past, it talks about emotions, it talks about you as a person. Shaq, we all know you're a passionate lover.
I didn't think you dropped that in there.
You see it yourself.
Where'd you get that from?
You see it yourself.
Where did you hear this?
I'm a passionate lover. Persian blood, Teesside. You love expressing yourself, Shaq. Let's get your music on board.
I need to be careful what I say in these songs. We're going to have some women calling up, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think at that we can look forward to the next podcast.
Yeah, do you know what I'm thinking? Let's link something in with maybe like Pickle Rick or something, and then I'm talking about there's some subjects in there about war, military.
Okay.
Let's link it in with your journey and whatnot.
Let's do Pickle Rick next week then.
Link both of our journeys in again.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm in.
We just want to say a big thanks to Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris.
The Messiah.
The Messiah.
It's been great. Episode 1 done.
Boom.
Woo!